Good afternoon on what is a cool, grey and cloudy day. It is Wednesday the 24th of August and I have a nice hot cup of tea and some parcels to unbox, some of which, this one I've already started going into, so what I'm going to pull out next is this, Bones Deep, Skeletons Exploring the Ocean Floor, which has to be one of the oddest concepts for a game imaginable, but obviously somebody did imagine it. So this is Troika compatible. Let's see, it was published by let's have a look. It's by Lawrence Sheridan, and I'm looking for the publisher, by Technical Grimoire. Okay, so is your skeleton ready to hatch? Bones Deep is a tabletop role-playing setting for 3 to 6 players, built for Troika, usable anywhere. Straightforward underwater sandbox, no swimming allowed, no oxygen required, no extra math. As a skeleton, you can treat the ocean floor like an alien world and jump right in. Emergent adventures. Every random encounter is Bones Deep, aims to draw you deeper into the setting. Warring factions, clues to hidden treasure, terrible foes, cute pets, and cephalopod mysteries all compete for your attention. Book includes 5 detailed quests to kick off your campaign. More real than you can imagine. It was written by a team of folks who were heavily inspired by real deep-sea life, including a boat captain and an underwater educator. The book contains 120 pages of underwater weirdness, 6 skeleton backgrounds, 20 locations each with a dozen encounters, 36 spells inspired by ocean phenomena, 50 creatures inspired by real-life deep-sea life, and 5 adventures to kick off your campaign. So that's quite an action-packed little book. So it's a great cover, really like that. And it's interesting that sort of like that you can it's sort of like there's some places sort of like for fantasy role-playing games that they're kind of inaccessible unless you sort of like start adding in magic or magic that's kind of akin to technology. And one of these is sort of like this is under the water, and is the basically the surface, but basically the bottom of the ocean. You know, you either sort of like start sort of casting sort of like magic spells or technological devices, that sort of thing, or basic magic devices. But here we go. Here we have a map of the area, Bones Deep, approximate locations. And the thing is, adding basically making the players play characters who don't need to eat, breathe, or even sleep kind of opens up the possibilities. You know, what next? Bones in space. So you're a skeleton. You cannot swim. You do not belong, and essentially, you know, you are thrown overboard, and you have to explore a lightless world. Now, it's not completely lightless. There is some light shining down from the surface, and then you've got various, I'm sure pretty much various types of animals that sea life that will give off visual displays if pressed. But it basically does take into account the types of sea light sources available, and then, you know, we've got the different types of backgrounds for your skeleton. So newborn, recently hatched, carver, keeper, a junker, complete with a gadget list, a shifter. Essentially, this is a pile of magic bones rather than a human being, and you can actually sort of shift into different forms. And infested, essentially you have a parasite squirming in your hollow channels of your frame, waiting, and there's a table of parasites for you. So that's sort of like an interesting options. So it's not just sort of like everyone's a skeleton, but different. So we have rules changes for stamina and drives, and the interesting thing is that skeletons can absorb memories. Do it from an object, creature, or location they're touching. so they can begin to explore the world around them and its past. But that comes, of course, with its dangers. So you have a memory mishap table, and then the explanations, and then we get into a fairly lengthy list of creatures, beginning with an arapama, and various types of fish, anglefish, balloon puffers, barrel eyes, all based on real life, and probably a mixture of the odd as well. So we've got bloody belly, cone jelly there, lots of interesting creatures for the player character skeletons to encounter. Because the other thing that's what's great about that is that it kind of completely gets around that old age problem of your players know the game. They know all the monsters. The undersea environment is going to be completely alien to them as much as it is to the skeletons. So there's a certain freshness to it. So you can get, up at eye levels you've got crocodiles and alligators and deadly swarms. So quite a lengthy bestiary there. I'm not going to show you everything. Greenland sharks. There's going to be numerous types of sharks in here. Hippopotamus. Some of it will be familiar. You're familiar with a hippopotamus and otters. So yeah, quite a lengthy bestiary as I said. But, even we have right at the very end. Let's just see if we can find it. Just saw it. Wizard. See, he's got the necessary equipment, gear to go scuba diving. He's got a mask, some kind of breathing apparatus, and of course a spear or harpoon. So we've got factions like the Crab Cabal. Wizards, because wizards. Witches, cephalopods. It's kind of like a case of if you've got wizards, you should have witches. Bergs, blackwater vents, interesting locations, bleached wastelands, bottom of the barrels. So lots of things to explore when you've got flotsam and jetsam involved. Final shipyard, so you've got basically a ship's graveyard and a graveyard lake as well. Haunted library. This is all quite plain, but it's all quite accessible. Jungle River, easy to read, nicely illustrated. Kelp Forest, and then see what's up. Reef roads. So you've got a nice feeling the terrain there with the kelp forest and the reef roads as well. Even up to the shoreline. And the Silk River, Stormlands, sunken barge. And these are a bit more developed, so a sunken barge, crash, current situation, ways to run the adventure, entrances, random locations, and so on. So you can escalate this according to whether he's got a necromancer aboard or a captain. That's a nice touch. You've got plenty of kind of randomness there, just in a few pages. You don't want to run too many encounters with these things, but an observation bubble. And then Void Ridge, stories, cephalopod invasion. So yeah, just about everything, kind of like the game. Your game master's going to need. Cure the wizards, of what ails them. So story ideas, skeleton generator for you know, either you want to create your own or you just basically create an NPC, you know, various tables at the end, quirks and skills and so on, and then you've got a barge layer at the end there. So I absolutely really kind of like this flavour. It feels different, it's interesting, it's forcing your players to think about exploring a completely alien environment and do it in a completely alien form. Well, not completely alien form, because obviously, you know, skeletons, we all have skeletons and we kind of know how they work, but what does that mean? Role-playing as a skeleton is going to be different to what you normally role-play. So yeah, bones deep, skeletons exploring the ocean floor, interesting role-playing campaign, worthy of a review soon. But worth tracking down, I think, just to see you know, how a different environment is presented. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a parcel, from which I will unbox a book or a game and chat about it to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit that subscribe button down below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. We're back again soon with another one. Bye for now.